Well, we're gonna get a lot of pushback from the people who are, here's the thing. Stop standing and being sycophants to any politician. Hold all politicians accountable. Politicians will be politicians. I went after Bernie many times, and now it's time to hold Tulsi Gabbard accountable for the things she's been saying and doing. And this isn't the first time. This has been now a few incidents she has been doing. Didn't say a word about the Israel attacking Palestine and killing all these kids.
Yep.
People were saying, oh, but she's in a post. She can't she can't say things and blah, blah, blah. She made other posts about other things. And she could say something now. She's no longer, and she hasn't. So that's that.
Even going back to her time before she left office, too, as well, the HR 666, I believe it was, when it came to giving the forces that may be right to remove people from the family to get a virus under control. Yeah. That's another thing we have to talk about, too, as well. We kind of turn a blind eye and say, well, this is Tulsi Gabbard's kind of like Dustin Hoffman from the movie Outbreak moment where she just wants to secure it down, get the virus under control for the benefit of the people.
You said that. I didn't say that. I was like, what
I'm saying a couple other older people with me online said the same excuse. No, what I'm saying is that people who follow Tulsi let her military mindset as an excuse for her to have these reasons and thoughts, and that is not acceptable anymore. No. And with the way this is coming about, it's definitely not acceptable. It's crossing the shit line, and we'll talk about it. So
yeah, okay. So Jonny made a tweet.
Jonny tweets,
and I'll let you talk about your tweet.
I said, LOL, when asked about the lack of accountability on generals, that was Tucker's first question, what do you think about the lack of accountability on generals? You hear it. Tulsi says Islamist jihadist ideology is the greatest threat we are facing in this country, and then suggested a targeted approach using airstrikes and special forces. And I'm like, when did we time travel back to 2002 when like people were saying the same shit, right? Like, this is the greatest threat that we're facing in this country, right? And it's like, that's not the greatest threat this country is facing right now.
Well, no. Can I say something too really quick before we play it? It's a 180 from what she stood for. The reason why we stood for Tulsi Gabbard is like, we need to end these wasteful regime change wars. Regime change wars is more about going over and bombing a country and just removing their leadership. It's the CIA planning factions that turn the country against each other, like funding these jihads and all these other groups. She always focused on our part. What is the U.S. empire doing? If we stop this, then that won't be such a great threat anymore. Now she's doing the exact opposite, saying jihadist Islamist ideology is the number one threat. What the hell is this? Where is this coming from? This is not, like you said, do we travel back to 2002 when planes went into the building in 2001 and we were always going, oh my God, what the fuck? We need to stop this. No, she supposedly recognized the American empire as the problem. Now she's saying the exact opposite.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. That's the key point here. It's, talking about the U.S.'s role in what's going on in the world. It's the imperialism, the foreign policy, the regime change wars, all of that. That includes drone strikes. Drone strikes have a kill rate of about 90%. They kill a lot of civilians. So, Jonny, you have the full video, though, right? Yeah, okay, so we're going to play the full video. We're going to start and stop it. But we thought it was important to play the whole thing. Honestly, if I was hearing this, I would, and I didn't see her voice or didn't hear her voice or didn't see her face, I would wonder which neocon is speaking. Because some of the things she was saying were very, very much... it seemed pandering to a certain demographic. Yeah. So, all right, Jonny, go ahead.
Told us that a drone strike had killed. So for weeks, the Biden administration told us that a drone strike had killed a group of ISIS-K terrorists, whatever that is, in Kabul. And there were secondary explosions that proved they were suicide bombers. But they were lying. Forced by the New York Times to admit it, they've now conceded they killed a number of innocent people, including children. Here's the interesting part. Mistakes happen. But in this case, no one in the Pentagon has been punished for this mistake or for lying about it. We thought it'd be interesting to see what Tulsi Gabbard thinks about this. She's a former member of Congress from Hawaii. She served in Iraq as a member of the Hawaii Army National Guard. She's still serving the country in the military. She joins us tonight. Congresswoman, thanks so much for coming on. So you get to lie. I mean, this will not shock you because you've seen it so much, but you get to lie about the loss of human life, you get caught, and nothing happens to you? What kind of system is that?
Real quick, I'm pausing it because I just want to emphasize that the question that Tucker's asking there is that he's talking about the generals. He's saying, you get to lie. What kind of system is that? Talk about the system, or, what do you think about the system? And let's hear how Tulsi responds.
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of accountability is critical. I want to point out first that anytime there are civilian casualties in war, it is tragic and terrible. Yeah. War is a terrible thing. And I think it's important for the American people to understand that Islamist jihadists are continuing to wage war against us. And the Islamist ideology, not the same as the religion of Islam, but this Islamist ideology, which is a political ideology that inspired the terrorist attacks on our country on 9/11, is the greatest threat that we're facing right now in this country and the world. It is the foundation of governance of so-called Islamic countries like Turkey and Iran and Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. And it's what's behind the discriminatory policies that they have in these countries against Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, atheists, and others. So as long as these Islamist jihadists are waging war against us, we have to work to defeat them militarily and ideologically. And militarily, we have two choices in how we do that. Number one, we can continue to invade and occupy and nation build in countries around the world, just as we did in Afghanistan, at great cost. Number two, we can take a targeted approach using airstrikes, using our special forces to go in and go after these terrorist cells. The reality is that
Okay.
I think even Tucker is even like, wow. Like,
Look at his face.
Like, Tucker's even confused. Like, I brought you on here to not manufacture consent to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
She makes Tucker look like the anti-war.
Oh my God.
Because later, like, Tucker's like, but getting back to the question or something.
I
Yeah,
know,
so-
he'll go into it. But
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a moment where she was going to straighten the record. And
Right.
for all you people to know out there, a lot of us here have reached out to the Congresswoman to ask her to come clarify our points to the people who supported her and everything, right? No response back so far. And I'm only going to speak for this group over here and stuff like that, but we've asked her, please come clarify these statements. And instead of going on and clarifying them and straightening out the record, she doubled down on this fucking bullshit here. Even the lumping of fucking Iran in this situation to me is mind-blowing.
You're lumping Iran with Pakistan, with Turkey and Saudi Arabia?
Arabia?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Are you like seriously? Like what are you thinking? Lumping Iran right there? Like we sanction Iran. Like we do all this shit all the time. Like this is I can't believe that she is lumping. I mean that we created these radical extremists. She completely. First of all, she doesn't answer his question. Like, he's talking about the casualties and how dare the Biden administration and how dare these generals get away with that with no, like, consequence. And she
almost justifies it.
She almost justifies it and then goes right into, but these, and at least she makes a differentiation between the religion and the extremism. So at least she did that. But
she didn't do it in her tweet, the previous tweet.
She didn't do it in her tweet.
But even still, the lumping of when we talk about Iran, when Iran is predominantly Shia, right? And as far as these Sunnis, I mean, when you say, and it's colonizing language. It really is when you say Islamist ideology, and people still want to, people who support her and want to continue to support her, who are saying, no, she's not saying she's anti-Muslim, she's saying she's against this Islamic ideology, which is a political ideology and stuff like, well, no, not really. If you say Islamic ideology, what are you saying? You say Sunnis, Wahhabism, Shias, she's lumping them all together. Right. And then she goes around and plays the other side of the thing, and she lumps Christianity with Buddhists and fucking Hindus. Tell me right now, guys, in the modern fucking world, in the modern times, what religion has killed more fucking people than Christianity? Bill Clinton fucking said that God told him to bomb Kosovo. Right? You want to string that along? Why don't you lump that about Christian ideology? It's ridiculous what she is doing. She's doubling down on fucking stupid, and it's a 180 fucking degree turn from where she was.
She's not talking about the U.S. involvement and the U.S. like fault in creating these extremists. She, like, if she had said, I believe that they are a danger to Americans. And, you know, I do understand that the United States helped radicalize these extremists, and it's not everybody. If she would have said anything like that, this reaction wouldn't be what it is now. But she didn't say that. She once again made them the enemy. They are the enemy, and they're your number one concern.
That's crazy.
So, Tulsi, my number one concern, and the number one concern of many people here, is how the fuck are they going to pay rent? How are they going to pay their bills? How are they going to, you know, make ends meet? We don't have health care. What's going on with this so-called pandemic, with these mandates and that's people's number one concern right fucking now. Like countries in Africa, in West Asia, and these extremists there that we helped fucking create, that our state agencies helped create, are not our number one concern. Our number one concern is also the imperialism that the United States is the wars and the regime changes that you talked about. You campaigned on, right? That you campaigned on these wasteful regime change wars, which includes drone strikes. Hillary Clinton was a huge proponent of the drone strike program. We have whistleblowers in jail for exposing the drone program, and you're telling me that this is okay? It's just very, very much a neocon type of mentality. Like I said the other day, I almost felt like John Bolton could have been saying this.
Even Donald Rumsfeld realized the fact. He even said one time, hey man, maybe with these policies that we're creating more terrorists than we're killing. He even said that. Yeah. We're creating more. That's Donald Rumsfeld. Now you're going to now you're going to say, oh, well, these are our number one enemies.
We have to defeat them. That's our number one priority. No, it's fucking.
Bottom fucking line, fam.
Get out.
It's not.
We need to get out. Stop our interference. Period. That's our priority.
Just plain get out.
That's
Mike
it.
Gravel said and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And bottom line, most men who have joined a jihad didn't join a jihad because Allah told them so. They became jihadist because a fucking U.S. bomb killed their family members. Just remember that. It's not what's in that Islamic ideology that Allah told them to go kill fucking Christians and Hindus and stuff. It was a U.S. bomb dropping on their village, killing their family members. That's why they became jihadists. And I don't know how the Congresswoman has lost sight of that.
And she talked about targeted drone strikes, which is like literally like Hillary Clinton, like Bolton, like fucking
Obama
rhetoric right there, you know?
It's terrible.
Yeah. So let's just continue playing it.
That the cost to the American people, the cost to our troops, the cost to civilians will be far less if we take this very targeted approach to go after these jihadist terrorist cells than if we continue making the very same mistakes that we saw in Afghanistan and other parts of the world of invasion, occupation, and nation building.
So in order to do that, or to affect any successful military strategy, you have to have competent people running things. And doesn't competence require honesty and accountability? And that's what I see missing here. It's like you're not allowed to lie to the public, which employs you, are you?
The American people deserve honesty. They deserve leaders who lead with integrity, and not those who shy away from their own responsibilities to the American people or look for a lower-ranking fall guy to take the hit. The American people deserve strong leadership that looks out for their best interests and the best interests of our country.
When was the last time a general officer or someone, Pentagon level commander in the U.S. military was punished for a mistake, or it's always the corporals, lieutenants, the captains?
That's a really good question, Tucker, and I can tell you from having just come off of active duty, having just come back from a deployment to Africa, there's a common frustration amongst service members when it is someone of a lower rank who takes the hit for decisions and policies that were made far above their level.
It's so dishonorable. That whole way of governing anything, not just the military.
It's not leadership.
No,
it's not leadership at all.
Cowardice. Tulsi Gabbard, welcome back. Thanks so much.
That was a very cringy, kind of weird, kind of second half of the interview. It really was. Because it's not the integrity, which we have a problem with here.
Right.
This is not about this general lying or that lieutenant lying or telling the truth. It's the policy.
Right.
It's the policy of being there in the first place. That's what we should be concentrating on. Why are we there to begin with? Why are we funding these jihadist groups? And that's what we've been doing. And now we're getting away from the policy and we're looking at it, we have to be more systematically doing it properly with the strikes. And we have to have honesty from these generals who are doing it.
Right.
It's the policy.
And that sucks for people getting blamed, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the fact that civilians, including many children and women, but especially children, were murdered. And they didn't have to be. And she didn't at all talk about that. She completely avoided the whole fucking conversation. So it's really for me, it's really telling that maybe, Tulsi did never really talk about, she was for drone strikes. She always was. She did say that she was for some drone strikes. So has Bernie Sanders. We have never had anybody, I think was Mike Gravel against drone strikes. Maybe Mike Gravel and Cynthia McKinney were the only ones that were ever against drone strikes. But anybody that was representing in Congress in the last few years has never said no to drone strikes. Most of them say, we're for, a few. So that's not surprising. What is my problem here is her generalizing and broad portrayal of the Islamist jihadist ideology without differentiating between cultural, religious, and ethnic groups, like Pasta said, and also with the rhetoric that is reminiscent of post 9/11 rhetoric that got us into this mess in the first place. I can say that she's right that we shouldn't be physically going in there at all, but drone strikes are not a good substitute. Drone strikes kill more people,
more civilians, than they do.
More civilians in particular. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like what Osama bin Laden has said after the towers went down. Like, we never had proof that he was actually behind it, but he even said, they experience a 9/11 every day over there.
Every day. Every
fucking day. And as long as the empire is over there raping the fucking resources and putting whatever puppet government they want in that does their bidding, we won't sleep quietly over here. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. But, that is the issue. And, at this moment in time, I also want to make a pitch to some of the Tulsi people out there that are still defending her and whatnot. It's like I said in the beginning of the show. I'm still, with the information that was provided when I made the vote, I'm still happy I made the vote. I still think she was the better of all what we have. And I'm very happy to have met you people. And I think that ideology of aloha and love can continue to go on, and we can have that. But as far as the Congresswoman's concerned, I'm so sorry, but I'm lost right now. She lost me with this whole situation here. This is really, really, it's disturbing because it's against what she stood for. Our eye was on the American empire, their actions, and what's happening over there is a reaction to our initial actions, and that's what Mike Gravel said. How about we just plain get out? That was the solution. We start fucking there. This is the opposite. This is we have to just take a different approach about it.
Right.
We have to take a targeted approach over here. We have to go out because this is the number one problem we're facing as a country is this Islamist ideology. They want to kill us.
This is Anthony Blinken's foreign policy right here. He was talking about shifting foreign policy from like on the ground, boots on the ground, etc., into a more technology for the borders, technology and drones for foreign policy. She is mimicking Anthony Blinken's foreign policy.
Yeah. And a lot of people are mad. They told me today they were mad at Kim. They were mad at us, me in particular, too. It was like the fact is that they feel like we're speaking for them. Because I said everybody who defended Tulsi Gabbard got thrown under the bus. They're like, well, don't speak for me. You know what I'm saying? All the people who said this, Kim made a tweet and stuff. Oh, don't speak for everybody. Okay, I won't speak for everybody, but I'll speak for myself and a group of us who are very disgusted by this. It doesn't change the fact the Congresswoman needs to clarify her words. And if this is her clarifying her words, she's shown her true colors and where she's at. And I'm not going along with that plan. I didn't sign up for that fucking plan. I signed up to be an anti-war, anti-imperialist. Let's stop fucking interfering with these countries. Donald Rumsfeld, like I said, he even said, I think we're creating more fucking jihadists that we're killing. Hello?
Either you're an anti-imperialist or you're not. Like like you can't be like, well, only for these people that I really don't like. And a lot of, and a lot of the people that are like okay with this are really anti-Muslim. And like that's the thing. You can't do that. Like sure, there are religious extremists, but again, Pasta mentioned it. Christian fundamentalists and extremists, especially like 1,000 years ago, waged a lot of wars that killed a lot of fucking people. And to this day, there's a lot of extremism in the Christian ideology too. You don't see people going out, we have to defeat the Christian extremists.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And Tulsi never even mentioned the word imperialism really in that article. I mean, in that interview, and
No.
Actually not a lot in the campaign.
No, she would talk about
she would talk about regime
wars
change
and the
wars
U.S. role in it.
And the U.S. role in it.
She's not talking about the U.S. role in it now.
Not anymore, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And this is the tweet that Kim made. Tulsi Gabbard is making all of us who supported her eat crow. I was first disappointed at AOC, then Bernie, then Tulsi, then even Trump. It's been a never-ending cycle of being totally disappointed in politicians who claim to challenge the power. And then she said, forgot to add Obama. Starts with him, then Bernie, then AOC, then Bernie again, then Trump for not pardoning Assange and ending wars, and now Tulsi. So, we talked with Kim, and she was like, all these politicians, they're just all failing us. And she said that she actually reached out to Tulsi to get her
take on it.
Her take on it, as we did, as did we.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're not being bad faith here. We're trying to get an explanation for why this is, because she did so many great things. She was pro Julian Assange.
Right.
She destroyed Kamala Harris on the national stage. She pointed out the warmongering Hillary Clinton. This is what she called Hillary Clinton the rot
of the Democratic Party.
the rot of the Democratic Party. That
the queen of warmongers.
Queen of warmongers.
So,
and then,
but what she's saying is contradicting that, because she's sort of mimicking a lot of
100%.
Hillary Clinton's foreign policy.
100%.
So where if Hillary Clinton is the queen of warmongers, the rot of the Democratic Party, why are you kind of sort of okaying a lot of the foreign policy that she is used to? Like a lot of the foreign policy she has pushed, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe because she's in the military now, I don't know. But we wouldn't have honesty or integrity on the show if we didn't criticize a politician rightfully. Just because I like a politician doesn't mean I'm not going to go after them.
Right.
I mean, we went after Bernie Sanders hardcore. I especially did after he fucking sold out, and I continue to go after him because he's being a fucking cuck. And that's the reality. Politicians aren't your friends. Like I said, we have more in common with each other than we do with these politicians.
Yeah, there it is. By the way, Johnny, the tweet that you put up, a lot of people were mad at Kim because they were like, don't speak for all of us. I'm sure Kim would say, all right, I'm sorry for speaking for all of you, but a lot of us are disappointed.
Yeah.
Whatever the case. I mean, we shouldn't twist words and put the narrative on why is Kim and why is Pasta saying everybody was thrown under the bus, don't speak for all of us. Okay, fine. Why isn't it that the politician, all right, Tulsi Gabbard, is not being looked at for her fucking words, and yet you're trying to focus on
going after
our
the
language.
media,
You're tone
going
policing
after them.
us because we're saying that.
It's the same criticism I get go after of the people that protect AOC no matter what she does.
And Bernie.
Bernie. It's the same way we go after them. It's like you stop.
Yeah.
Like stop being sycophants to politicians. If they don't do what they said they were gonna do, what they ran on, you fucking tell them.
Yeah.
You hold them fucking accountable. Like, you don't make exceptions just because you like one better than the other. I'm sorry, that's not how it works.
And while we're on the subject too, those people who keep on telling us now, we told you Bernie was better, and like, no, you're not getting it.
Yeah.
Bernie fucking sold out a while ago. Now here comes Tulsi coming along. You weren't right.
Yeah.
We were wrong in the fact that we should have probably trusted any fucking politician and stuff like that, but you weren't fucking right.
No,
okay?
and
because your candidate was just as awful.
Bernie, like I said, he was for drone strikes.
Yeah.
And we still, Bernie was my compromise, and I voted for Bernie twice. That doesn't mean that, that changes the foreign policy aspect of her knowledge of foreign policy. Is definitely far greater than Bernie's was. Bernie has voted for war several times now. So don't pretend that Bernie is any better.
Bernie
I mean, this is
voted
just fucking,
for the AUMF, ladies and
this
gentlemen.
is fucking ridiculous. Bernie's writing op-eds like kissing Biden's ass. None of these politicians are good. We like we said it, and Cynthia McKinney said it. We don't have friends in D.C.
None.
We have none. Cynthia
Zero.
McKinney called her out too. I mean, we really don't have any. Like, it's really a sad state of affairs. A fucking weasel marmot bullshit.
This goddamn fucking marmot. I'm gonna kill this marmot when I find this marmot.
It's already dead.
It is?
In this dimension.
Oh man, it probably escaped to another dimension too, and we think it's dead and it's still alive. Johnny, anything else before we get off the Congresswoman? Because I'm still happy all the people I met. I still love you guys out there. You know that. I reach out to you all the time. And I really wish you would join us in calling her out. She should come on to the people that supported her or covered her or whatnot and explain to them. But she hasn't, right? She hasn't. So just keep that in mind. And we've all reached out in a respectful manner and say, hey, man, please come clarify your statements. We're a little confused here because this is a 180-degree change You know what I'm saying? About what she was saying. It was always about keeping the eye on the American empire and what was our part. What's the initial action? This is just a reaction. Jihadism is a reaction to the actions of the American empire, and that's what I thought she always stood for. And maybe I was wrong, but I think she should clarify those statements.
100%.
And also we funded them.
Yep.